What is up, everybody? It's your boy Doody back again with another video, and this time we're taking a look at our boy DSP's daily rap video. But honestly, what we're really going to be focused on is what happened last night during the unrecorded bag segment on the night stream, and also what happened on the first stream. So if you don't know, if you haven't watched any of the content, apparently DSP did something extremely weird yesterday on his first stream. It's something that he normally doesn't do. The last time he did something like this was back in March of 2025, where apparently Bugs Bunny had passed away. So in honor of Bugs Bunny, Phil decided he wasn't going to beg on that specific day, which he didn't do. It was a Call of Duty stream and something else. And everyone found it really weird. I remember posting on Twitter and saying hell must have frozen over because DSP didn't beg. Now, a few days later, as you guys know, he came out and said this was all some master plan that he was doing, where he chose not to beg to show everyone exactly what happens when he doesn't beg. He's not successful. That's right. So in essence, he was doing a king snaking on detractors and his viewers, where he was faking who he was just to prove a point. He was collecting scientific data to prove his hypothesis that if he doesn't beg, he's not successful, right? And I think we're going to get the same thing all over again. If you're not sure what Doody's talking about, last night our boy Phil decided he wanted to leave a cryptic message to everyone and said that, he was going to reveal some Machiavellian plan that he had in the works. So, of course, you look at the fact that he didn't beg on the first stream. He dropped that little hint on the unrecorded beg segment, and then he said it on the daily rap. It tells me that we're going to get another, King Snakening 2. Or actually, it's 3.0 now. Where this was some master plan to fell his detractors and to show everyone that he's playing 5D checkers with his with his business. Who the hell knows? But anyway, let's hear him talk. He's going to talk about Crisle and how that bombed, and then of course he'll mention yet again the King Snakening 3.0.
Good evening, everyone. Phil here, and welcome to the Daily Wrap for what was Tuesday, the 10th of February, 2026. A day that I honestly do wish had gone differently. Not to say that it was a bad streaming day, by no means was it, but I do wish that the day had gone differently, and I'll explain why in a moment. But let's recap everything that happened. We started off today with a DSP morning show, and on said morning show we talked about various different topics, including the fate of 2XKO, which now it looks like is falling apart at the seams, an update on the new game, and it's called Directive 8020 from Supermassive Games. We had a bunch of Q&A. It was a pretty good show. Good interaction. Lasted about an hour, and we just chilled until we built up enough attendance. And then we started with the brand new indie game, Crisle. All right? The game is called, actually, Crisle Theater of Idols. And what the game is supposed to be about is two groups of warring factions of cults. I guess they both worship their own respective gods. One is the god of sun, and one is the god of the sea. And the game has horror elements. The game has survival elements.
Oh, okay. So right up your league. Right up your avenue. Cults. Very much. A lot about cults. Okay, so I figured you would enjoy this playthrough and make it fun, but apparently that wasn't the case. I guess the only cult you care about is the DSP cult of worship. I guess that's what it is.
And the game has interesting story and exploration, puzzles, etc. All right. What the game doesn't really have is any semblance of pacing that makes any sense whatsoever. Allow me to explain what I mean by that. So when you watch the trailer,
pacing,
Crisle, right?
Of course.
It shows you fighting all kinds of robotic enemies. Now, some of these are like statues that appear to be human underneath, but then also giant, like big robot monsters and things like that. It shows you using multiple different kinds of weapons and the like, and it shows like you're doing some kind of like bloodcraft magic or whatever. And you're led to believe from the trailer, man, this game is probably going to be similar to like BioShock or something like that. Now, it definitely looks like it's a little bit more gory, but for the most part, that's exactly how the trailer is designed to make you think the game is. Well, folks, I'm sorry to say, the trailer's a bait and switch. And what I mean by that is that even though maybe the things that are actually present in the trailer are in the game somewhere, they are nowhere to be seen within the first 3.5 hours of the game. No exaggeration, the entire first hour is building atmosphere with a little bit of combat, and that's okay. But then once you go into the main part of the game, here's what you very quickly realize. What's going on? All that action and stuff isn't here. You fight the same exact enemies over and over and over and over and over again, and there aren't even that many of them. It would be one thing if there were like hordes of these enemies and you felt overwhelmed. There's really nothing about this game that feels survival horror in any way. There are a few jump scares here or there, but for the most part, the game is just a very boring and repetitive formula of kill a bunch of these very generic statue people, refill your ammo by using your own health, find a way to get your health back by absorbing blood from creatures or just finding vials you inject yourself with, wash, rinse, repeat. Yeah, you explore, you open locks on doors, you solve basic puzzles and stuff, but the game is a very, very narrow and boring gameplay loop. Compare that with BioShock, where right from the get-go, right, you've got multiple weapons. You're getting plasmids that are giving you new abilities and things that are exciting. You have customization options where you can buy things from a vending machine that make the game play differently, right? None of that is present in Crisle. If you want a more in-depth explanation, I made a 10-minute video talking about Crisle and made it the highlighted video of my channel, explaining the game 1,000,000% is a bait and switch from what they showed in the trailer.
Okay, all right. So whatever, Phil. Essentially, long story short, he didn't make $150 or more. It was a premiere stream. No one cared. He had about 200 viewers watching it. The same old, same old. So of course, Phil, in his business style approach, is wage quitting it. He actually mentions it a little later in this video, where he clearly flat out says he's wage quitting the game. So it's official. That game is wage quit. Yet another one. I mean, that's number what? Like 15 already in 2026. The man has gone on a tear wage quitting games. Good Jesus. I mean, it's insane. He's wage quit pretty much every single game he plays. I mean, the only one he ends up completing are those small little indie games. And we all know that Dragon Quest is going to be next. He's going to rage quit that shit pretty soon. Yeah, I mean, whatever, Phil, whatever. I think what happened yesterday was, you know, he realized that he wasn't going to get any support for the game, right? And then he decided, well, you know what? I'm not going to get any money for any support here. You know, he did beg on the podcast, right? So he said, you know what? Let me try to use this as some way to felt my detractors, right? So, of course, as he's going to mention a little bit, he's going to talk about he has some secret plan he's going to reveal today. And we all know it's going to be the same nonsense that he pulled back in March, where he tried to claim that, you know, he was creating some 5D experiment to show that he's smarter than anyone else, and that's the reason why he's successful. We may get one of the rants today. We may get a "I'm gonna beg and you're gonna like it" rant. I have a feeling we're gonna get one of those because the chat's gonna be insane today. I think the Kick chat and the YouTube chat is going to be insane, where people are going to be bringing up this bullshit that he did last year after Beg's money passed away, and he didn't beg for one day, and you know, he claimed it was some type of experiment. I have a feeling we're going to get the same. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I'm hoping it's that. Again, it's my just putting things together, you know, seeing that he didn't beg during the playthrough yesterday. And I actually did put a video out there that said he didn't beg, shockingly. My guess is that's going to be the announcement, you know. And he's gonna bitch and complain how he can't get sponsorships, all of this nonsense, the same shit. You know, we may get the three-prong approach of business. You know, being a shill, doing drama content, or e-begging. You know, the ABCs. And we all know what he's gonna pick. He's gonna pick the begging. All right, let's keep going.
Maybe if they had never shown that trailer, you wouldn't have had that expectation. But that's really the reason I bought the game. I just watched the trailer. I'm like, it kind of looks like BioShock from the way they presented it. How am I 3.5 hours in? I still only have the starter handgun. I have no abilities whatsoever, 0. And I've only ever fought the regular standard statue enemy. I'm bored. And the truth is, not only was I bored, I think the viewers were even more bored. They were saying to me, this ain't it. Like, this is just not well designed at all. There's 0 pacing. Like, you want pacing so that the excitement ramps up, not 3.5 hours of exactly the same thing with 0 ramping up or anything scary. Like, what is going on? Okay, there's one scary element. There is a boss that shows up that you can't fight. Much like a lot of these survival horror games where it's like first person, you just can't fight the thing. You have to hide and avoid it and then try to escape it. You do that a couple of times, but honestly, you've done it in so many games before, it's just not scary in this one anymore. It just doesn't feel original. It feels like they're just biting off of what other people have done. So watch the full review, but just not a very good game. Now, because of that, okay, lots of people showed up to watch, but after like an hour, 2 hours, people were like, what happened? This game is so boring. And sadly, the support completely dried up. So I think I made like $80 on the game, and that was it. Now, I did an experiment. I'm going to explain this experiment to you tomorrow on the Level 1 podcast. So everyone remind me tomorrow on the podcast, say, Phil did something different with this Crisle stream. All right? It's something that I probably want to do moving forward, but I don't know if it's going to work, and I want to run it by everyone. I did do it during this stream, and it distinctly made the stream feel different, but we'll see. All right? I'll talk about it tomorrow on the podcast. It's a topic that I want to discuss. But I only raised like $80 on this stream. Okay? So that being said, tonight with Street Fighter 6, I wanted it to be a really good stream because...
Okay, no, whatever, Phil. No one gives a shit. All right, so right there, I mean, again, it could be something different. He could watch my video today, and he sees that I caught on to his little plan here, and he may alter it and change it or whatever. But Based on everything I know and just knowing Phil, my guess is that he's going to come out and say, look, guys, I didn't beg because people have been bitching and look, all right, if you don't remember what happened a couple of days ago, Phil got called out on live stream fails, right? Millions of people watched him go off because he only made $20 during the Call of Duty playthrough. And he's had several meltdowns since then. He's had a meltdown about live stream fails. He brings them up every so often. You know, he's butthurt. Just like when Moist Critical called him out, you know, and he tried to change and all this bullshit, you know what I mean? And I think to some extent he may have been embarrassed. Shockingly, yes, he may have been embarrassed. I mean, it's tough because he's a scumbag and he knows it, and he's a crummy ass person and he doesn't give a shit. All he cares about is money. But every so often, you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. Something happens. He does something that actually goes out there in the internet and more normies see it. You know, people like Asmongold's crowd and all these folks, they see it and they start mocking him and start calling him a scumbag and all this stuff. And he gets his unwarranted attention because, you know, Phil's a very weird dichotomy. He's a very weird person where he's dying for attention, right? He's dying for attention. He's dying to have his views and his opinions accepted and appreciated, and he wants to seem like he's some authority on gaming and whatever the hell he talks about. But then he likes to work in the shadows. You know what I mean? Where he doesn't want people to get exposed to the darker side of Phil, right? The e-begging, the call to action, the continual harping, the him telling his viewers to eat shit, you know, mail him a spoon and eat shit. You know what I mean? He doesn't want people to know that side of him. So it's a delicate balance that he has to walk where, you know, he has to do what he has to do to try to get more attention on his channel because, of course, he needs more dents to fill his coffers. But he needs to make sure that he's not too exposed where people start digging into him and seeing who he actually is and realizing, oh, this guy's a scumbag. You know what I mean? So it's a delicate balance there. But ultimately what drives Phil is money. You know, so even though there is a probability that he's going to get negative attention, just like with the live stream fails, Asmongold, Moist Critical, he's kind of willing to chance it because, you know, money is the ultimate thing that means the most to him. And I think he's come to this realization that the only way he makes money is by doing all of these fucking gimmicks. And this will be just another gimmick where he'll come on and he'll talk about how he's so smart and his detractors are so stupid and they took the bait. It's just nonsense, Phil, nothing you do is original, okay? Anyone can look at what you're doing. A 10-year-old could look at what you're doing and figure it out easily and say, okay, I can see what you're trying to do here. And it's pathetic. And again, you know, come on, Phil. Yeah, the writers are, it's the beginning of 2026 and the writers are already doing reruns. I think what happened was he forgot he did this last year. I think he may have forgot last year that he pulled this nonsense about no begging and it was some type of Machiavellian plot against his detractors or whatever. Maybe he forgot and that's why he's redoing it now with some fucking gimmick. I mean, I know recently he's been struggling to hit his goals. Definitely been struggling to hit his goal. I think someone put it out there that so far in 2026, Phil's had, what is he at? He's had about 35, close to 40 streams. He's had about 35 individual streams, and half of them he didn't hit his goal. You know, that's rough for Phil. And you saw the numbers for January. He dipped significantly in money. He is back to pre-Kino Casino income. And he realizes that to some extent, you know what I mean? When he starts seeing he's not hitting the goals and his gimmicks aren't working. So he panics and he trouts out more gimmicks like this. You know, trust me. And some people think that, you know, he's an idiot. He is an idiot, but I think he realizes that, you know, baiting detractors or talking about detractors brings him some support. You know what I mean? There is a segment of his dent heads that whenever Phil starts attacking detractors or does a call to action where, oh, look at these horrible detractors, they're hurting me, you know, they come in and support him. You'll notice it every time when there's a streak of low support, Phil will come out and start referencing his detractors and how he can't make money because they'll call a sponsorship and all this nonsense. You know, it's the same playbook. Phil doesn't have anything different. You know, again, it's the same old DSP. He doesn't change. He's been the same scumbag for the last 18 years. And even though he tries to, you know, polish up his image, you know, I'm sorry, Phil, but a turd is a turd. You can only polish a turd but so much. You know, it's going to eventually crumble into, you know, residue and shit on your hands. So I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, this is the rest of the rest. He starts talking about Street Fighter. No one gives a shit about Street Fighter. One Dent came in. Anonymous, of course, came in to save the business, or it came to stream to save the stream, and that was pretty much it. And he sucked. He lost. He lost probably more than half of his matches on Street Fighter. I mean, it's so sad and pathetic. I didn't even clip it last night. But anyway, I'm going to attach the unrecorded segment to this video so you can watch his announcement where he tried to sneak it in that he has some 5D chess announcement that he's going to do today. And yeah, so I'll be podcasting today anyway. By the way, my podcast today at 9:30. We'll touch on this. We'll talk about this a little bit more. If you got nothing better to do, come check it out. And if not, I'll definitely clip his announcement today at 2:30 or 3 o'clock, whenever the hell, you know, I'm assuming the podcast is going to be this. It's going to be this announcement because he got nothing better to talk about. So I'll clip it, post it, and we'll probably have some more shit to talk about tomorrow. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace out.